Welcome back, Major League Fantasy Sports owners. Well, today's topics are going to be on a couple of areas excuse me, within the free agent auction system. I was going through Major League Fantasy Football 2, was looking at their free agent summary, and I noticed some things on there that were a little strange, and also what really brought this to my attention is that, you know, our bidding system is $1 to $10, and I had an owner in the new league that's new bid $11 on 2 players. So what I wanted to do was go in and, you know, fix this problem, fix the situation. Turns out the guy would have won the bids anyway with another guy he would have tied with for $10 because he was higher on the waiver wire. But I also found a couple of other things that are definitely don't make sense that goes on within the free agent auction. There's no way for me to change the settings. I've talked with Frank and Mark and Brian and Greg and a number of other people who are trying to figure out exactly how to fix this problem. The first problem is going to be, okay, if you essentially, because we have a $1 to $10 bid, if you're the first you have the first waiver wire claim of the week, like you're the highest on the list, essentially with the way this is set up, it doesn't reset your order after you win that claim. Let's say you tie in a claim with somebody, right? You both bid $10 on a specific player, you tie. The team with the higher waiver order does not reset to, say, number 12. So essentially what they could do in 1 week is they could go out, if you're first on the waiver wire or even second, because maybe the guy first on the waiver wire doesn't need anybody, is you can max out on the amount that you can bid, which is $10. You can do that with 5 players, and you're guaranteed to get all 5, and it doesn't reset, even if somebody else ties you after you win the first tiebreaker with somebody else. Now, this may sound a little confusing, the way I'm, trying to explain it, but there's definitely a glitch in the system, because I had noticed that on the waiver report today, I actually tied in 1 bid with Greg Burns for Alfred Morris from the Redskins. We both made a max bid. We both dropped $10 on the player. But he had already won a tiebreaker for $10. The actual pick before that, the guy he got before that. And it doesn't reset. So essentially he could go through and pick up 5 guys off the waiver wire, bid $10 on all 5 guys, and knows he's going to get all 10 guys, bottom line, end of story, and nobody else is going to have a shot at the players. Well, that's not really the whole idea of the system. That's not why we put it together, and that's an unfair advantage to the person with the first waiver wire order, for sure. I think it's kind of hard to argue that. So that's a problem that we need to fix. Also, we do have another problem with, and this is I think the 3rd year that we've used this in Major League Fantasy Football 1. We've never run into these problems because people aren't bidding up, $10. But I also ran into another issue where Greg actually made 2 bids on 1 player. He bid 5 on one guy and 10 on another guy. In this situation, it's going to take the higher bid. He didn't really, make out from that situation because of the more than 1 bid on 1 player, because he had to spend more money to get him. But then he also won a tiebreaker with it, which creates that other issue. Only 1 bid should be allowed per player. You shouldn't be allowed to go down a list and bid $1, $2, $3, $4, $5, $6, $7, all the way down to 10 times on 1 player, okay? Because at some point, what you're doing there is you're making sure you're getting the cheapest cost for each player, and if you're number 1 on the waiver wire, you're going to win all of those head-to-head matchups based on what your other opponent that's looking for that player bid. So if you both bid, $5 on this guy, and you're the 2 highest bids, okay, and this other guy, okay, they get the number 1 on the waiver wire, and then you have number 8 on the waiver wire, and you guys tie, what's going to happen is it's going to go down that list, and it's going to go to the highest, the bid that ties the highest, and it's going to give the number 1 waiver wire guy, the heads up. It's going to give him the player. That's really, kind of circumventing the system. It's not what we had designed it for here. In most leagues, what happens is when you select a player and you're first on the waiver wire order, you pick up that player, you then get reset to say, in our league, you would be set to number 12. So now, if somebody was ahead of you in that situation, then you would lose the tiebreaker bid because of the fact that it reset the waiver order. You know, that's really was the whole idea behind doing this. And really, it only comes into play as an issue if there's tie bids involved. But that's definitely a gaping hole in the system that needs to be fixed. So, you know, what was the next thing to do was well, how do we fix it this year? There's nothing we can do in the software to change it. There's no setting I can put on there to change it. I can put a minimum bid. I can't put a cap on maximum bid or anything like that. So, what we need to eliminate this year is the tying of the bids so that doesn't happen because we can't change it. So instead of $1 to $10 per player, we're going to up the limit that you could spend on any player that you pick up to say $30. The chances of a tie bid in that situation on $30 is you know, anywhere from $1 to $30 is going to be very small as opposed to $10. Guys will drop 30, 40 bucks on some guys in a week if they think that they're going to put up the numbers and it's going to help them win and give them a good head start. If you max bid 3 guys for $30, that's 90 bucks. You only get $100 all year. You're left with $10 for the rest of the season, and you know everybody in the original league understands that you're going to need to do some moving around during the middle of the year when all the bye weeks are happening, and you may have to pick some guys up here and there. So, you know, at that point, if you're not left with any money, you're going to be playing with an illegal roster. You're not going to be able to fill your holes, and that's against the rules. So learning how to budget your money is very important. But really the only way that we can fix this problem, fix this issue, or this advantage to the person that's number 1 on the waiver wire is to raise the amount, because it goes to the highest bidder. It doesn't, you know, the only time the waiver wire even comes into play is when there's a tie bid. The bid is tied, obviously the person on the higher end of the waiver wire will win it. In this situation, it's the same. If it's $30, you know, that's just foolish anyway to do that, to bid that much on a player. But this will spread it out a little bit and hopefully, you know, alleviate most of this problem for this year while we, you know, try to fix the situation going into next year. The other topic I want to touch on is in regards to the new league. The original league, the owners already understand that how to budget their money and make sure that they have enough in the tank for the whole season. The new owners, there's 8 or 9 new people that have never played in this system before with the free agent auction and a budget. You don't want to be doing max purchases on a lot of players unless it's guaranteed money in return. What I mean by guaranteed money is a guy's a starter and, you know, was just overlooked by the league, or he took the starting job from somebody and they're a run offense or a pass offense, and you know the guy's going to put, that's one thing. But you have to be very careful when spending too much of your money too early on in the season, because you're going to be left in a position, you know, maybe later on, like say you get in the playoffs and, you know, you're the first round of the playoffs and you've already blown your entire budget. Well, one of your guys might get injured, you know, and you might need to replace that guy in order to win that week. You're kind of screwing yourself out of the ability to really perform well, which is the whole point, is to play in the playoffs and win. Also, if you're playing in the championship game's in week 16. Some teams may decide to rest their starters. If you don't have any money left in your kitty, you're not going to be able to go pick up the bench guy that they're going to have starting that week for the, you know, like especially running backs or wide receivers. Quarterback, different situation, but you know, you're going to screw yourself out of being able to compete later on if you blow too much of your money early on. But the real, you know, problem here, the real key problem that we need to address is only 1 bid is allowed per player. Period. We have to police this on our own. There's no setting for it. 1 bid per player. Not 2, not 3, not 4, 1. The other issue that we are resolving is this waiver issue. We can't change the system with the free agent auction system to where it resets once you win a bid via a tiebreaker. It doesn't reset. It just allows the person to continue to win these bids with the tiebreaker and doesn't reset their waiver order. The $30, adding the $30 max on players will spread it out to the point where, you know, we shouldn't run into too many more tie bids for players, and hopefully this will at least alleviate that alleviate that issue with the system for the rest of the season while we kind of work out an alternative going into next year. That's pretty much all I have right now. I did want to give some props to Toupee. I think who else had it? Ryan in League 1 and Toupee in League 2 did very well. They're kind of 1 and 2 neck and neck on the most points scored right now. So, that's a new payout this year. Anyway, any further questions that anyone has in regards to this topic, I'm going to put a thread on both home pages of MLF 1 and 2. It'll be on the message board, and it'll say something like, free agent auction issues. If you have any questions or concerns, go on there and put your question or your concerns. If you didn't understand what I was talking about, we can talk about it further. You can call me and we'll go through it, and you'll understand it after I, just discuss it with you. Anyway, that's all for now. Major League Fantasy Sports. Good luck the rest of the season, the rest of the owners, and hopefully you all lose to me when we play. Thanks, guys.